Let's begin by just taking a moment and just allow yourself to fully be here. Typically, all of our focus and awareness and attention is on the constantly moving world outside around us. What we see, what we hear, what we taste, what we touch. Constant change, constant movement. And it's wonderful from a survival standpoint. But it keeps us separate from the one who is watching, the one who is hearing, the one who stays constant, unchanging. Even when everything we are noticing is changing. So take a moment and just allow that awareness and focus, that attention and intention to unhook itself from the constantly changing objects in the world around us, and bring it in to the unchanging witness, the unchanging light of awareness, the light shines upon everything. The everything is changing, but the light is unchanging. Take a moment and just drop into the presence of that unchanging light within you as your true self. If the mind wanders, don't worry, just bring it back. You can use the breath as the magnet, the anchor. If it's hard to stay anchored in the light, just stay anchored in the breath. And just bring the awareness back. You can add a really simple and beautiful mantra to it, which is the mantra of So Hum. And it means I am that. I am existence. I am the universe. I am all that exists. And as you inhale, you can just allow yourself gently to chant within you. So, as you inhale, and as you exhale, just allow yourself gently, within you silently, to chant, hum, on the exhalations as you're letting go. Just a gentle mantra, anchoring the awareness. Slowly bring the palms of your hands together in Namaste at chest level, and just gently rub the palms of your hands against each other. And then press the palms of the hands into your closed eyes. And slowly lower the hands and open the eyes. So, as I had said last night, we'll begin today with some questions, and then we'll go into the talks. By then, Pujya Swamiji will come as well. But I wanted to make sure to open the space for questions, because I knew that there were, and the other sessions in keeping with our time management, were ending on time, but ending before we had a chance to take many questions. So we'll begin with some. I know that Avani and Priya have been collecting them, so I've asked them to they can speak, share the question, and then we will, after those, we'll shift into the theme of today, which is compassion. Sharing that light of compassion as the very true and most natural manifestation of who we are. And just on a quick logistic note, I was informed last night that some of you were having difficulty hearing me, for which I'm really sorry, and I was feeling very badly that it wasn't until last night that I was informed. So I'm trying to speak a little bit louder today. I'm happy to speak even louder, but I would rely on you in the back. Just feel free, let me know if it starts to feel like you can't hear well. Feel free to just give a signal or shout from the back, we can't hear you, and I will get louder. From here where the speakers are, it sounds quite loud, so it's hard to properly gauge what the volume is for you in the back. So we'll consider this an interactive exercise where you can just keep letting me know how the sound is. Yes? Do we only have one mic? We have another mic, yeah? I mean, we can always share, but... Perfect.
Jai Shri Krishna. Can you all hear me? Yes. Okay. Pranam Pujya Swami. So, our first question is, how do you compromise with people who are more stubborn in their ways? Is there a certain way to handle this without anyone being offended, whether it's at work or with family?
Good question.
Great question. And it's a really important balance because on the one hand, one of the very core tenets of spirituality is kindness. Right? In the Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavan Krishna says that tapas of speech, the right speech, is speech that is true, kind, and beneficial. It actually has to be all three. There's a beautiful story of George Bernard Shaw. I don't know if it's true or not, but I love it either way. That when he was on his deathbed, someone asked him, you know, you've spent your whole life studying the world's religions and philosophies, and if there's one thing that ties them all together, one thread that runs through all the different religions and philosophies, is there such a thread? And he thought for a moment, and then he said, just be kind. So we have on the one hand kindness as this virtue. Thou shalt be kind. And yet on the other hand, when we speak about compassion, when we speak about love, when we speak about kindness, it's really easy to forget that we are also part of that equation. The teachings are not, be kind to everyone except yourself. Have compassion for everyone except yourself. But that's how most of us take it. Oh, I'm really suffering here, but I have to be compassionate and kind to someone else. Well, we also have to be kind and compassionate to ourselves. And this is where it becomes a balance. When people are very stubborn, a lot of times what it means is that there's stuff in their life that they're not wanting to look at. It's that sense of, I need things to be exactly like this so that I can stay in peace. Because if you don't do it the way I want, I'm not going to be in peace and it's going to be your fault. One thing I promise you, no one is here on earth with the dharma or duty to prevent someone else from having to look at difficult things inside themselves. That is not your job. And sometimes us not living our truth, not living our highest calling, dharma, love, compassion, truth, all of that. Sometimes we find ourselves not living that because if we do, it's going to be uncomfortable for someone else. Those are the times where you really have to just say, you know what? Perhaps being uncomfortable, perhaps having to find peace from within rather than from everybody dancing according to your tune is actually a worthwhile and important piece of work for that person to have on planet Earth. We are not here to prevent people from having to have a difficult situation from which they are going to grow. When I first decided to move back to India, or rather when the universe gave me this decision that was kind of pre-made for me and I just had to go along, it was not easy at all for my parents, especially my mom. Those of you who know my mom know that she had very clear ideas of exactly how things should be and very clear ways of letting you know if things were not according to how she thought things should be. And I was in a situation like this. Now, they were not stubborn and they didn't say, you are not allowed to go. One of the differences of being a 25-year-old American young woman and being a 25-year-old girl in a village in India is I had been on my own since I was 17. I graduated high school. I went off to college. I lived on my own. So they no longer felt the authority to say you can't go. But my mom definitely did not want me to go. And I struggled. I struggled a lot with duty. And what I realized was that the truth is a magnet. The truth is a magnet, and the truth has the ability to not only draw people toward it, but to touch and change and transform anyone who is brought into the energetic field of truth. And that what I had been giving, what I was living, was my best attempt to just allow the truth of the divine experiences I had had to flow through me. And that to not live that truth because it made mom uncomfortable was not my dharma, not my duty, not my responsibility, and was actually going against something that had been given to me which very clearly was my dharma. And I mention this story because as the years went by, the transformation that my parents went through, the transformation that my mom went through in having to face a life that was very different from the agenda she had had in her mind. Completely different from how she thought things were going to go. The babies she thought I was going to pop out. I mean, you've got a vision of what you think life is going to be. I remember at one point before I officially took vows of sannyas, my mom calls me one day and she says, I had a dream. I had a dream last night. I said, yeah. She said, the dream was that you married somebody from the Hare Krishna temple in Los Angeles and that you had all of these cute little Hare Krishna babies. And she said, so I want you to know it's not the religion thing that's the problem here. And you can understand it, of course, from her side. So when somebody is being what we call stubborn, it's not that they're bad or wrong or unreasonable. We understand in most cases they have a really valid place that they're coming from. And it's their perspective. It's their agenda. It's their desire. It's their vision of how things should be, which sometimes aligns with our duty and dharma, and sometimes it doesn't. And this is where we have to live our duty, our dharma. But you do it as kindly as possible, so you don't shove it down people's throats. You don't be rude. You don't tell them that you don't care how they feel. There are ways of being kind, even while we say no. No is not in and of itself mean. No can also be kind. There are ways of doing it, ways of saying it, that enable us to live our truth while being kind. So this is what we get called upon a lot in life, in the family, in the workplace, in the society. People want us to live a certain way. And, lastly, there are things that are easy to do that are not really part of that highest, biggest aspect of duty and dharma. Just do them. Don't make a fuss about everything. Sometimes just the right and easiest way to manage a situation, the lowest energy expenditure way, the lowest waste of time way, is just to say, sure. Just do it that way. It's okay. Not everything is worth fighting over. Not everything is a big deal. Not everything is directly connected to your ultimate dharma in life. Somebody they want the dishwasher arranged a certain way. They want things placed on the counter a certain way. They want this. Okay. They want to take a certain route. You know it's faster the other way. Okay. You'll be 10 minutes late. It's okay. This is where we choose peace and we choose love. And we say, is it really worth the battle? There will be things in life that are worth it. But you've got to choose your battles. What are the things that are really core and important? Hold on to them. And the rest, as easygoing as you can be, not only does it make other people happy, but you'll find it will change your nature in such a way that things feel easy in you. And you stop reacting badly inside to other people's stubbornness also. You just say, okay, fine. It's easy. Sure, no problem. Come this way? This way? Yeah, there you go.
The question is, what is God's intention for human suffering?
What is God's intention for human suffering? I don't think God intends us to suffer. But part of the package deal of human life is this thing we call free will. I wonder sometimes whether God isn't thinking that that was a colossal mistake or not. But nonetheless, it seems to be a gift that God has given us that He's not going to rescind anytime soon. So we've got this thing called free will. And we've got this thing called the mind. And what happens is our mind in ignorance, what we call Maya, identifies as the physical body. We forget that we are soul, spirit, divinity, consciousness, love, light. And I'm using all these words synonymously for now, just for the sake of this conversation. That aspect of the truth of who we are, that infinite divine truth, we forget. We identify as the body. In the identification of the body, many things happen. Lust, greed, very clear, just physical things, gotta have it, need it. Anger, competition, judgment. As I have a sense of this as me. Well, I want it to feel better, bigger, more than someone else so that I can feel good about myself. So I'm going to compete. I'm going to judge. I'm going to put them down in my mind. I'm going to be angry if it seems like anyone thwarts my ability to get what I want. Combine that with free will, and you get actions that are driven from that ignorance, from Maya, actions that are propelled from a place of lust, of greed, of anger, of jealousy, of judgment, of rag, of dvesh that we were talking about, this desires, aversions. And those actions have repercussions. It's what we call fruits of karma. And when those fruits of karma are bitter, we suffer. But I don't think we suffer because God had an intention for us to suffer. The suffering is the result of the ignorance and the illusion. This, for me, is what I have come to call the Hollywood to the Himalayas way of thinking. Many of you know that my memoir is called Hollywood to the Himalayas, but it's not just the physical journey that was my life journey. The freedom from suffering is not in where you put your physical body, it's in the mindset. And yes, certain places are incredibly conducive to freedom. Rishikesh is one of them. But ultimately it's about the mind. And the mindset of what I call the Hollywood way of thinking is that ignorant way. That way that says you are your body. What it looks like, what's happened to it, what it's done, how much it earns, where it is on different career ladders, social ladders, etc. And so we suffer. The Himalayan way of thinking says, you have a body, but you are not the body. You are soul, you are spirit, you are divinity. And when we shift that identification, it's the end of suffering. It's like that mantra I was sharing the other night, the Asatoma Sadgamaya mantra. That freedom from ignorance, darkness, suffering, to truth, light, end of suffering. So I don't think God intends us to suffer. I think our misplaced use of our free will is what leads to suffering. And God is always there, ready to help us out of suffering. The moment we are ready to stop the false identification, God is there. Truth is there. There's no prerequisites. I always say grace does not discriminate. It's not a matter of what else have you done. The moment you say, I want to be free, and you're really ready to surrender those attachments, those stories, those narratives, you can be free, and the suffering ends.
Sorry. Our next question is, so yesterday satsang, Swamiji shared with us the way his mother had an amazing power of faith, especially after her incident with the train. This person's question is faith something we are born with, or is it something we can develop? How do we develop faith in dark times, and is it something that we carry down from our past life?
Beautiful. We absolutely are born with faith. Look at children. A child is playing, falls, hurts himself. starts to scream and cry. Mom comes and picks him up. What happens? Immediately. The cut is still there. The blood is still there. But the fear, which is actually in most cases the cause of the hysterical crying, is gone. The moment we are in our mother's arms, that fear is gone. We are absolutely born with faith. Now, that faith tends to be in the form of our mother, but as you know, just from basic kind of child development stages, the children see our mothers as infinite, as the divine. I mean, she really is the divine. So that faith is in the mother, in the father as well to some extent. And you see it in no matter what is going wrong. In the parents' arms, we feel safe, comfortable. What happens along the way is as we develop ego, we start to develop attachments, we start to develop ways of identifying ourselves. We start to develop a sense of what we want that we are not getting. We compare ourselves with others. It's not fair. We blame others. It's his fault. It's her fault. And so our internal sense of peace, of joy, of well-being starts to become dependent upon that which is happening around us and what we are getting from it. Either physical, tangible things, or just love and appreciation and respect and camaraderie and all of the things that we crave from people around us. And when we don't get it, we fall. The way to recover faith is to stop thinking about God as that vending machine I was talking about yesterday. As long as I've got an idea that I want something from God and I'm not getting it, I'm never going to have faith. Or I'll have faith as long as I'm getting it. And then inevitably, when I stop getting it, I won't have faith. But is to recognize and realize that that which I'm being given, the circumstances I am being put in, the experiences I'm having, are those which are, number one, the direct result of my actions at previous times in this life and past lives, and those situations that are most conducive for me to learn lessons, to take a step closer to God. So if I'm suffering, instead of saying, why am I being punished? What's the problem? Maybe it's my stars. God has forsaken me. Ask yourself, what is the lesson I am supposed to get here if this troubling situation keeps arising in my life? What is the lesson I'm supposed to learn that I have not yet learned? And that's why the universe keeps giving it to me. Right? It's like if you get held back a grade in school. It's not because the principal hates you. It's because you just haven't learned what that grade had to teach you. If you can't do addition, they're not going to send you from second grade to third grade because you'll never learn multiplication. They know you need to know addition for every other aspect of math to build upon. And if you can't add 2 and 2 or 5 and 7, they're going to hold you back in first grade or second grade. Not because they're against you or hate you or your stars are wrong, but just because there's a lesson you need to learn for your benefit, to make the next grade and the grade after that and the grade after that and the rest of your life much more smooth. So have that faith in the divine that is giving us exactly what we need to move closer to our truth. Yes.
Okay, the next question is, can you give some guidance on how we can recognize when the company we are keeping is moving us away from God, and what steps we can take to erect a boundary that protects ourselves, and in so doing that we are also serving the other person?
Great. This is where we emphasize satsang. Satsang literally means the association of truth. That power of who you hang out with cannot be overstated. It's super important. Now, it's less important when your spiritual practice is really strong. Pujya Swamiji is not impacted by company he keeps, by places he goes. It's not that his mental state is being changed by, this airport or this place or these people complaining about this thing. It's not changing him. But until and unless your inner spiritual practice is really strong and you're really grounded, and ultimately, by the way, that is the goal. The goal is that we should be so strong and grounded that we can go anywhere, we can be with anyone, that we don't have to say, oh, I really just can't deal with that person because steals my peace. That's not the highest goal. But along the way, what you find is that people you hang out with impact your thoughts, your priorities, your values, your beliefs, your interests. And if you start to find, as inevitably happens, it happens to all of us when you embark on a spiritual path, there will be people, there will be friends who just don't fit anymore. It's like you embark on an exercise program, you lose a bunch of weight. Certain clothes just don't fit anymore. There will be people and relationships you have to just let go. But you don't say to them, I've outgrown you, you're bad for me. Nobody wants to hear that. Then you just sound really arrogant and condescending, and then you give a bad name to spirituality also. Instead, just gently and slowly stop spending so much time with them. If they start to speak in ways that are not how you want, just move away. People get hints. People understand. If they invite you to a certain party, a certain place, just say that you'd rather not go. Maybe if you think that there's room for their growth, say, you know what? Instead of that bar, what do you think about maybe going to listen to some classical music? I'm not saying you have to take them from a bar to a temple. You don't have to say, oh, hey, some people are chanting the Hanuman Chalisa. Let's go do that instead of, go to the bar. But is there a place that is also in alignment with your spiritual practice? That also is something that they would enjoy. Maybe we just go for a walk. I know for me, that became the thing I did with people. All of my friends, when I meet them, friends from before, that's what we do. We take a walk. A, it enables you to actually spend time catching up and talking. B, you're in nature. And C, you don't ever find yourself in a situation that you're being impacted by energies that you really don't want. And you still may find that there are people who just don't fit. And that's okay. We outgrow clothes and we outgrow relationships. And you can hold them deeply in your heart with love. But given that we only have 24 hours in a day, you really want to be careful who you spend it with and whether it's helping you or hindering you. I want to stop the questions for now because Pujya Swamiji is going to be joining us in a few minutes. And I wanted to just have a moment to speak on the importance of compassion. We will, by the way, just if you didn't get your questions answered, every evening in Rishikesh after the Aarti, I have the beautiful blessing of leading a satsang. And we always begin by taking in questions that come in advance. So it's live streamed online on YouTube, on Facebook, on Instagram, on other channels, and we take your questions. So if your question didn't get answered, please feel free to get it to our volunteer team, to Priya, to Avani, to Tiffany. They'll make sure that those questions get to me, and then you can join in from wherever you are, and we'll be together in satsang even through the beautiful gift of technology. Or even better, you can come to Rishikesh, be there in person, and we can continue those there. But compassion is really important, and as we're talking about finding the light within us, when we access that light manifests in the world as compassion. It's why being around people who are anchored and grounded spiritually feels so good. We feel that energy. Tapping into compassion is not difficult. Every time we meditate, it is the most natural, automatic outcome of our meditation. Because we are not separate from each other. We lose compassion because we get stuck in separation. I'm over here, you're over there, my needs, your needs, I'm not going to give that to you because I need it. The moment I drop into my meditation, I realize there's no place. Battery maybe?
That's what I thought.
Okay. Can you hear me if I'm loud? In the meantime, they fix the battery? Thanks. Thank you. The moment I drop into meditation, I realize there's no place I end and you begin. We're one. So compassion is the most natural outflowing of our meditative practices. But in order to really hold on to it, there's a couple things we have to do. And the first is don't rush, don't stress. Rushing, hurrying, stressing are the things that pull us out of compassion. There's a beautiful psychological study that I love that they did where they took seminary students, people who were actually studying to become priests, dedicating their entire lives to spiritual ministry. In the seminary, as they were walking out of one class, they had somebody appear to be an injured, sick, kind of homeless person collapsed on the road in front of them. Now remember, it was a study. And they watched how many people stopped along the way to help. Now, just before they got out of their previous class, they had been given a lecture on the Good Samaritan, which is a core teaching of the Christian tradition. How to be compassionate, how to serve, how to be helpful to others. They walk out not 10 minutes later, and on their path is a guy, sick, injured, collapsed on the road.
Sadhana, what you do is
When they had an abundance of time
we'll just leave it
to
there.
get to their next class,
We're doing one-on-one.
almost all of them stopped out.
10 people she has.
But if at the end of the last class they were told, you've only got 2 minutes, 3 minutes to get into the next, and the doors are closing,
Yeah.
a huge percentage of them
Yeah.
rushed past this guy,
For lunch.
collapsed on the road.
I'll come.
Yeah.
I'll come with you.
Now, this is what we would think of kind of as the cream of the crop of spiritual people. They're, the equivalent of our Rishi Kumars. They're the ones studying.
As long as you see them.
Even more than our Rishi Kumars, because our Rishi Kumars are not all studying to become priests.
Or do you want to know?
These are people, older students who have committed themselves
Yeah.
So we
to a life of religious, spiritual
I can
ministry.
take the mic and say...
Just making
or
them be in a
just
rush
say, everyone...
was enough to make them step over or walk around
What time is lunch?
someone who clearly needed their help. And so as we are looking to embody more and more compassion, one of the best things you can do
What you gonna say?
is slow down.
I'm just going to say...
Just make sure
to devotees,
that you are present in every
Sadhviji and
moment. Because
Sadhviji
when you're
will
there,
remain
when
in
you're
their
conscious,
seats, sitting here, and if you kindly
You're always
exit
gonna
out
serve.
these doors where your shoes
it's
are,
the nature. What can I
and
do?
we will
What can I
do
do?
private
How can I
darshans
help?
for the people that have been informed, and I
But when
will
we're in a
then
rush,
proceed to
we become blind.
once finished, the other ones
So
will proceed
something
to line
as
up.
simple as that is
Please,
a
yeah,
huge
exit
impact.
where the shoes are.
The other
Yeah.
piece to realize is that our compassion
Is
is
that
not
okay?
only for
Does that sound good to you?
humans, but it's also for all animals. One of the most beautiful stories at the end of the Mahabharata is the story when the Pandavas are walking through the Himalayas up into the heavenly realms, and Yudhishthira's the last. What happens? He's got a dog who starts walking with him, a dog who follows him, a dog who accompanies him. And as he gets to the point where the chariot is just about to take him, but he's told, you can't bring your dog. What does he do? He says, forget it. Look at that. If I can't bring my God, forget it. If I can't bring my dog, forget it. I don't want heaven. This dog has been with me. This dog has served me. And as it turns out, of course, it was a test. And then we see the divine embodiment of the teaching of the dog. But I take all of our scriptures, they're not just stories. Bhagavan Krishna did not speak just to Arjuna. And we're listening to a dialogue that happened to take place at some time in the past. Some other place. Kurukshetra, maybe we'll go, maybe we'll never go. But these are teachings for today. We are being spoken to through Arjuna. You think, what is the point? Imagine, you are the rishis, you are the sages, you are the givers of wisdom. Through these teachings. Why stick a dog in the middle? Right? I mean, what does the dog add to the story? The teaching of compassion. The teaching of compassion. Let's rise. Pujya Swami, please come. We waited for you to offer this to her first. Pujya Swamiji, we've been speaking about compassion as the most natural outcome of our spiritual practice. That when our meditation is real and deep, naturally we're going to be compassionate. And we were just talking about how that compassion has to extend to animals, and I was speaking about Yudhishthiraji and the dog, and why we're given this teaching of compassion for animals. And you look at the Ramayana, and you look at Bhagwan Ram bringing all of the different animals into his army. Why? Why are we given teachings in this way to remind us as we read it? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. The bears, the monkeys, the squirrels, all the different animals. How critical they all are to our nature, our life. And just lastly, to remind you, which we already touched upon, is the importance of compassion for yourself. That compassion does not mean for all others at the sake of yourself. It means remembering your dharma here on earth and your path, your karmic journey of getting closer and closer and closer to the divine, and having compassion and love for that journey as we stumble along the way, as we take wrong turns, as we come back, and having compassion for ourselves as we walk that journey and as we do the very best that we're all doing with the toolbox that we all have. So with that, I will ask Pujya Swamiji to bless us with his divine wisdom and inspiration.
Mangalam Bhagavan Vishnu Mangalam Garuda Dhwaja Mangalam Pundari Kaksho Mangalayatano Harihi. Sarvamangalamagalye Shive Sarvarth Sadhike Sharanye Triambake Gauri Narayani Namostute. Narayani Namostute. Narayani Namostute. Namostute. Brahma Muraris Tripurantakari Bhanu Shashivo Misuto Buddhascha Guruscha Shukraha Shani Rahu Ketava Sarve Graha Shantikara Bhavantu Sarve Graha Shantikara Bhavantu. Ya Devi Sarvabhuteshu Shakti Rupena Sanstita Namastasyai 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 Namo Namaha. Ya Devi Sarvabhuteshu Kshamarupena Sanstita Namastasyai 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 Namo Namaha. Ya Devi Sarvabhuteshu Dayarupena Sansita Namastasyai 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 Namo Namaha. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahana Bhunatu Sahaviryam Karavavai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Asatoma Sadgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. respected Sadhviji, my dear sisters and brothers, it's so beautiful to be here together, especially on this auspicious occasion. That's why I became a little late also, because so many people, because it's Guru Purnima, people started calling from different, because it's night there. So in the night, when I will be gone back from this Yajna program, it will be late for me, not for them, it will be morning for them, because I observe silence every day from 10 p.m. to 10 a.m. So that's why many calls and many saints also we had a beautiful opportunity on this evening, in this day today, for this Guru Purnima celebration. And by the way, His Holiness Pujya Sant Murari Bapuji also called, and this I'm sharing his blessings also with everyone. Respected Sadhviji, when I entered, I was talking about compassion. How we are not compassionate to even ourselves. Sometimes it happens. We show so much compassion and we are compassionate to others. But when it comes to ourselves, we fail ourselves. You know, when you start complaining, grumbling, worrying too much anxiety, and thinking negatively, this is also not showing compassion to yourself. This is also not the right way to deal yourself. It means doing so much, but at the end, you lose all of that. Sometimes people keep worrying also. Somebody asked me this question, that it comes to my mind, people are honored, respected, but I feel I am also a doctor, I am also a PhD, I am an MD, I am an engineer, but people don't respect me that way. They don't take me seriously. I think as long as you take your job seriously, that's what God like it. That's what matters. That you take your job seriously, number one. And it's not that when you take your job seriously, people don't take you seriously. People take you seriously also. That's why they come to you. You're a doctor. That's why they are standing. That's why you are busy. But keep thinking about this, that people are not showing me the respect. People are not giving me the respect. This is also a one way of not being compassionate to yourself. It is hindering to your path. Seeing the pain of others and then dedicating yourself to remove that suffering, remove that pain, this is so beautiful. But at the same time, be careful that how you should be compassionate to yourself. This is very important. But compassion in action. Whenever I talk about compassion, many stories, if you go to Indian scriptures, every page is full of compassion. All stories, how those people sacrifice their lives for others, for the sake of others, for the society, for community, living for others, living every breath for others. Why? Because they were so compassionate in their heart. Look at Lord Buddha. You name it, he had it. People dream for it, and he had it. A beautiful kingdom, beautiful palace, beautiful wife, beautiful child, everything he had it. But seeing one day when he went on yatra in the village, in the city, he saw someone suffering with disease. The next day, he saw somebody is very old. Third day, he saw that somebody died. Just 3 incidents we see every day. But it impacted him so much because it was first time for him, because he was living in the palace. All the time, so much comfort, so much luxury was there. He never imagined that people are living in that suffering and painful situation. Immediately it came to him, why this suffering? He asked to his charioteer, why this? क्यों ऐसा ये है? उसने कहा, ये तो सबको होता है. It happens to everybody. Everybody who comes on this earth gets old, gets sick, and gone. He said, me too? He said, yeah, everyone. And that's it. He was not concerned about himself, that me too, it will happen. Immediately it came to him, what is the way out for this suffering? How I can find the way that people being here can live without suffering? How can I find the way that even suffering comes, pain comes, but people become pain-free? People become suffering-free from, because this is all mind, how you take it, how you accept it. Same situation to 2 people, and you will see the different reaction. We react very differently. Because, why? Because that's what we are. In your thought process, the way you think is very, very important. That's why yesterday we were talking about, day before yesterday somebody asked this question when I said time management and tongue management and thought management. Yesterday again he reminded me, yes, I remember, maybe tomorrow I'll answer today. But let us talk about Buddha first, and then we'll go back to those 3 things which are connected and very important. And for sadhana, the people who are on the way of sadhana, want to stay spiritual, for them is very, very important to understand the difference between them and then how to cultivate these values in our life every day in our sadhana. Buddha, looking after this pain and suffering, and he started pondering about this. He could not sleep when he saw that people are in suffering. And that same suffering is on and on and on. As the charioteer said, yeah, this happened, ये तो सबको होता है, सदा से होता है. No one is excused. He said, no one is excused. Then, one evening, he was very restless and he said, I have to find this answer. Middle of the night, he saw everybody sleeping. He went to his wife's bedroom. Gazed with love, and for one moment he closed his eyes. Then he went to see his child. He was sleeping next to her, looked at him, and very quietly, without telling anybody, he left the palace. It's a long story, but I will just sum up. After 12 years of sadhana, so much sadhana, one time it happened that said, Ihasane shushadu me shariram. Ihasane, sitting on this posture, so much time is gone. Nothing is happening. I take a vow today. Ihasane, sitting on this same posture, this very posture, Shushyatu me shariram. Even my whole body is dried. But I will not get up until I reach to that goal. For years, nothing happened. He was more and more going in the search of that path. One day, one lady, when he looked at him in the jungle, that he is really going through very difficult time. If he will not eat something, he will lose his body even. And what is the use of that sadhana if you lose your body and then you will not be able to perform sadhana even to achieve your goal? And she went to very politely to him, Bhante, please accept this payas, this kheer. But he said, I don't eat that. He said, if you don't eat, you will not may survive. To keep your body alive, you please accept it. And he refused. Again she requested. And she said, Bhante, I am not educated, but to me it comes, the first dharma is now to save your body. And then you keep continuing your sadhana. Bhante looked at her and took that payas, it came from inside, okay. And he took, and he regained his strength. Then he came to know, I think let me have the middle path. You don't have to go extremes. Sometimes this happens in our thinking also. We become so silly, start thinking so extreme, and then we are rejected. We reject ourselves even. Rejecting whatever we are doing. This is not for me. This is not for me. This is this, this is that. Then you start looking so many holes also. You were on the path to become whole, and now look, being on the path of whole, completeness, you started looking holes. In others also, in your seva, in your works. And this happens. And Buddha found the way, middle path. Let me walk on the path which can keep me alive, at the same time my sadhana also is completed. And it happened. And when he comes back after his enlightenment, it's not that he went to the dense forest, now let me go for advanced course for the dense forest. Somewhere deeper, somewhere, leave me this what I'm doing. I should find out something different because I'm not happy. I found this much, but for more, let me go somewhere else. Let me do something else. Buddha immediately not went to the dense forest or went some other location or another to find something else. He comes back to the same world where he left his palace. He comes back. And he said, now, first I was living for my palace, my patni, my son, my putra, my patni, my palace, my pita, my mata, my mother, my father, my palace, my wife, my son. But now, my life, what I gain is to share with all. This is compassion. That when you start living for the sake of the world, not looking for something in return, that what they will give me in back, but he is there, nothing in return, no expectations. And he's on, his journey is on, and now you can see he became the light of Asia, now light of the world even. So many places people have, look at that. You are the light. Just realize that. In your meditation, find that connection. That's why meditation is very important. When we talk about thought management, we were talking about, that's what we do. We meditate and we keep watching our every thought and keep offering to the divine. Don't get stuck there. Otherwise, it's a very dangerous journey. The moment you get stuck, one thought after other, and they will make you so confused, so much concerned even sometime. You will lose whatever you have it even if you get stuck in negative thoughts. So in sadhana, just keep watching those thoughts, but at the same time keep offering those thoughts, not paying too much attention to that, and just being focused. Just to be the light, to see the light. And you are light. We forget that because of the veil of Maya and veil of ignorance and arrogance and ego and so many other vices. We become victim of them and we forget our real Swarupa. That we are also the same Ishwar Ansha, Jiva Vinashi. That's why these camps, these gatherings, these retreats are very important. Just coming back to yourself. How to retreat yourself. You are not treating yourself in a right way. How to retreat yourself. Retreat is not just to be somewhere. It's a retreating yourself, being compassionate to yourself. And in all of that sadhana, one thing helps very beautifully. What I said, tongue management. In tongue management, what we do? We eat how we eat. And what we say. Through this tongue we do two things. We eat and we say. What to eat and what to say. This is very important. You will be amazed. Today somebody said the yoga students also, some of them are here. Are here? Okay, good. Yoga. When in Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna explaining about the yoga, you know what he says? In the middle of the war. Amazing. In the middle of the war. To Arjuna he says, Yukta har viharasya, yukta cheshtasya karmasu, yukta swapanava bodhasya, yogo bhavati dukkha. How yoga can become remover of all of your pains, all of your worries, all of your sufferings. He said, first thing is yukta har viharasya. Yukta. This word is very important. One letter, one word, yukta. Yukta har viharasya. Yukta means balanced. Look at this, being in the middle of the battle. There people are fighting. They are ready to kill each other. And Krishna is talking about balanced, what to eat, what not to eat, what to say, what not to say. And the whole war began because of what not to be said, it was said. There is a story about Draupadi and Duryodhana and palace. It's a long story, I'll not go there. And she said something. And Duryodhana became so angry. Andhe ke bete andhe hote hain, nahi? Blind children are always blind. Because your father is blind and you are also blind. Even you have eyes, you cannot see. Just this one line and became the reason. There was many other things also, but this was the main reason. And Arjun got angry. Okay, Duryodhana got angry. He said, okay, I'll show the lesson now. And this anger, this ego, just took another form, a negative form. That's what happens in our life. That's why thought management. The moment you go to that direction, immediately see, hey, what I'm doing. And you know your thoughts are ticket to your destination. Which train you want to take, which bus you want to sit, which plane you want to. It's not that we went to the airport, my flight was late, I saw the flight waiting. I said, okay, let me take this flight. But will not take you your destination. You were going to Louisville or Cincinnati or Chicago for the retreat, and you will reach to Los Angeles because you have not taken the right flight. It's not that because flights is standing, bus is standing, car is standing, and the train is standing, waiting for, not for you, for other passengers, but you said, oh, it's waiting, now poor train, let me sit in that. And you will not reach to your destination. Our thoughts are the seed for our destiny. The kind of thought we have is not that negative thought came and you just start following that thought. Talk to the thought. Give the direction to the thought even. That's why meditation is very important. This is thought management. ये नहीं कि जो भी आया कर लिया, जो भी होया चलने लगे, सोचने लगे. Every day if you meditate, you will see how your thoughts are being taken care of it. How your karmas even, because all those karmas are because of your thoughts. You have to, it's not that you think and it happens. To perform you need action. One thought came to slap someone, that's what we do sometime when we are together. It should never happen. When you are living a beautiful life, a life which is dedicated to each other, and sometimes we become angry and we abuse, we say bad things, sometimes our hand is also raised. Not good. And that time, when the hand is going to be raised, in your thought and the action, create a space, grab that moment. It's not automatically will go. Before it comes to other person's cheek, or body, or wherever, there is a space. Grab that space. That's what meditation does. It teaches you to how to grab that space, how to stay calm in those moments, how to create pause. But if you are not doing meditation, if you are not doing practice every day, believe me, instinctively, something triggers and you become tiger. And this happens. And people become tiger. And this fight starts, and that fight sometimes becomes so violent, so harmful, we cannot even pay back. So, create a space, grab that space before it becomes your destiny, before it becomes your habit every day. Any thought, and our thought lead us to action, and action leads to our traits, and traits leads to habits, habit leads to character, and our character, when we don't even realize, instinctively we react and becomes our destiny. And sometimes then we fall apart. That's why the divorce rate is taking so high in many countries. Because people don't have a patience. They don't even think. India being a country of 1.45 billion, 1.45, almost 1.5 billion now, and very soon.
Yeah, it was just 1.3 yesterday.
No, it's 1.4, 1.45. This is the now number in India. Just imagine. 1.45. These many people, but still, divorce rate. Many reasons are there, I will not go to that. It's very, very, very low. Many reasons. Sometimes people say, okay, we have children, we have this, we should not say anything. People keep taking that pain. But still, the divorce rate is so low. Why? what we should do. I'm not comparing any country or any people or anybody. I'm just saying we should cultivate these values in our individual's life. When individually we are sound, we are in peace, believe me, our families, our communities, our societies will be in peace. That's why peace is very important. Whenever I meet Sadhviji's father, and he says one thing, he said, even you have to do anything, you have to choose between many things, choose peace.
He's a divorce lawyer.
Huh?
You have to tell them he's a divorce lawyer.
He's a divorce lawyer. That's right. Choose peace. And he tells me, when people come to me, they are rich and miserable. When they leave me, they are rich and they are poor and miserable. Because he always tells me, in married life, you cannot be both. Either you can be married or you can be right. You cannot be both. It's a why not to say, okay, honey, in the beginning, and stop that fight. Nahin? So anyway, the thought management. Where my thought is taking me. If my thought is creating misery or happiness for me. My thought is creating peace for me or creating pieces for me. My thought is making me better or bitter every day. This is all our thought. For meditation, connecting to the divine is one thing, but connecting to yourself is more important right now. We have lost that connection. In Karma Yoga, when we say Karmanyeva adhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana. In Karma Yoga, we say, do your duty and leave the rest. Karma karo, par phal ko chodo. That's what Karma Yoga is. But in Raj Yoga, it said, do your duty, do your karma, but offer this fruit to the divine. Not chodo, but offer to him. That's why we have a kayena vacha. Manasendriya, tomorrow we'll talk about this before we leave. Kayena vacha. How to dedicate, how to offer whatever has been given to us. So be careful about your thoughts, because your thoughts are seed to create your destiny and make you happy or create hell or heaven for ourselves. Then what to say and what to eat is the tongue management. In the tongue management, in Bhagavad Gita, when the God is saying yukta har viharasya, what to eat, he says be balanced in eating, be moderate in eating, be moderate in speaking and in behaving with others. It's small issues, small things. In the battlefield, if he can say this, it means there is a importance, there is a weight in that. Yuktahar means eat right and eat light. Because so many Indians are sitting here, I have to say, eat fried, but less fried. Huh? Very important. And very soon, in 10 years, you will have so many health issues because of this fried food. It's so painful to become fried anyway. Ask the samosa. How terrible. And then we eat. So that's why eat right and eat light. And it's good also eat less. And low carbs. Now new thing is no carbs. Low carbs is good. And then last, less fried and less fight. This fight also with others or fight with yourself. It ruins you. Less fight I give you suggestion. I have tried this many places and it's working. It's working. I'm not in a copyright and there's no need of copyright. And because this knowledge is free for all. And less fight means every day, whenever you have an opportunity to fight or something rises, then you have to fight or comes to your mind to fight. Tell your spouse or children or whoever they are, next week, Sunday, 11 to 12. Have a fighting hour every week. Believe me, and this is a formula given by the holy ones. There was one beautiful saint, Saint Augustine, and he used to say, I can fight you now even, but 24 hours. Always he gave 24 hours that I will fight with you tomorrow. I'll answer you tomorrow. And believe me, he said, he's written that tomorrow never came. Then he started thinking, why fight? What necessarily? I think she was right. I think he was right. I think I was this. Then you start thinking. And half of the time, if their ego is not there, you will see that everything is over. But because of ego sometimes, but why? It was not my fault. Okay, it was his fault or her fault. Doesn't matter. Now how long you can keep dragging yourself? So less fight, less fried, you understood from today. When we go back, I don't know what they have cooked today. I hope not fried. So less fight. Every week 11 to 12 fighting hour, and after lunch you are all done again, ready for next week. And keep writing whenever something happens, something occurs in life. It happens. It happens. But we are going to fight, definitely. But 11 to 12. And you will see in 11 to 12 for a few minutes, you will talk few things and say, oh, come on, let us go together, and you will see that. All will be gone. So yukta har viharasya, how to act, how to talk to each other. Yukta cheshtasya karmasu, yukta swapna bodhasya, yogo bhavati dukha. I will not go to translation of and commentary on the whole shloka, but in nutshell, tongue management will help you. All that is created, all those fights are created because of this. Tongue is not managed. All this health is messy nowadays, in spite of having so many hospitals. But you can see the number of people, and in America especially, you can have an appointment after 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 10 weeks if you have to solve. Amazing. It means these many people are in line. So be compassionate to yourself. Eat less, eat right, and eat light. Less fried and less fight. This is also being compassionate to yourself. For compassionate to being others is wonderful. ये अपने ऊपर compassion है, नहीं? अपने ऊपर दया करो. There is a beautiful git for God. दया करो. But I am telling you, दया करो, अपने ऊपर दया करो. ये बहुत ज़रूरी है. And ये छोटी बातें, these small touches, small issues. I remember when I was in the jungle, it's not that they will give you such a heavy dose. They will give you some mantra, small thing, and they say, okay, go on. Keep doing. Keep walking on this path. Keep practicing. And that's what we all have to do. I don't know tonight or tomorrow what is the program, will be told by others, but very...
We have another session, last session tomorrow.
Huh?
This evening is Aarti,
This
but we
evening
have,
Aarti,
a
okay.
last session tomorrow.
Oh, tomorrow last. Okay. Tomorrow last. No problem. But it should last. That's, even if it's last, it should last. That is the key. Very important. Thank you. And Kumbh Mela, I don't know if Sadhviji has shared
Not
with
yet.
you. Not yet. Sadhviji will share. It's amazing that 400 million people are coming. 400 million, more than America's population even, in one city. Can you believe it? And no crime, no chaos. Everybody comes, everybody has a dip in the ocean, and no complaint, no grumbling. That's amazing. I'll ask Sadhviji to share about that, and we invite you to be in the Kumbh Mela. God bless you. Wonderful. Yes, Jai Shri Krishna. Yes, ma'am.
I know that we're already over time, so I don't want to take too much, but just to give this beautiful and sacred invitation, as Pujya Swamiji mentioned, for the upcoming Kumbh Mela in January and February in Prayagraj. As he said, there'll be 400 million of your closest friends and family. And it really is beautiful. Everyone really feels like a family. People end up sleeping anywhere. I mean, obviously you'll all stay with us and have rooms and beds and whatnot. But I know lots of stories of people, even people from abroad, who have gone into the Mela walking, end up not quite knowing exactly where they are, and end up literally just being given places to sleep and food kind of anywhere they go. It's a really, really, really sacred, beautiful time in which people come just out of faith and love for the divine. And we will have a beautiful camp there. You will be put up very comfortably. So an opportunity to be in the chaos, the divine chaos, but chaos nonetheless, and then to step out of that into our camp. And then as and when you want to go back into the Mela, we'll take you in for sacred bathing days and all of that. So yeah, we invite you all. It begins mid-January. The first main bathing day is the 14th of Jan. The last is Shivratri, which is the 26th of February. So anytime during those 6 weeks, you're welcome to come and stay the whole time, come for a few days, whatever works. There's now an actual airport in Allahabad, which makes getting there so much easier. No longer have to deal with long, foggy overnight train rides. You can now fly in an hour from Delhi and so many other cities in the world. So yeah, make a plan. The details will be up on our website. Just email. You're all connected as it is with Rekhaji and Atulji anyway, and so they'll have all of the details of how to register. I'm looking so forward to seeing you there. But we will, of course, be together this evening in the Aarti, and we'll be together again tomorrow morning. There were, I know, as I had said, some questions that we didn't have a chance to get to, so please do send those in. We will take those in the evening satsang in Rishikesh that you can join in live for. Seems like Seema has a, yes. Also, Seema, some people had wanted to do a group picture. We did one this morning, but Pujya Swamiji wasn't there, and it was only those who had gone for the walk.